Yeah. Right. Oh, there we go. Hello, guys.
Who we got in
Hi,
there?
Jazz. Hello, Camille.
Oh,
How's it going?
Jazz. So Jazz is on my course at the moment. Good evening, Jazz. You okay?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Got my
Okay.
Popeye chicken hat on. Lovely. Let me put the camera up slightly. There you go. Is that right? There we go. It's a bit better. There we go. So,
Right.
hey, Camille, you're right.
I was going to start off with this, but because it's with a camera, it's gonna be backwards, isn't it? But it says
Yeah.
you are sovereign.
Like it. Like it. Like it. When did you get
So,
those done?
I got them done a while ago, but they're just business cards with a little QR code. And what I do, on nature trials and stuff, there's little billboards. I just pin them up.
Like it.
So
Okay.
yeah, trying to grow organically. That's as
That's
organic
what
as
it's
we
all
can
about.
get.
So I went on Amazon. I was had these stickers with the QR codes, and I'd hand them out everywhere, stick them absolutely everywhere, just trying to spread the message. And it
Yeah,
did work. It
yeah,
did work. But if they're going to follow, they're going to follow. If they're not, they're not. You know, it's just that's the way the universe works.
yeah, exactly, man.
Anyway,
And right, before we start, let me just show these crystals that you sent me to
mm,
everyone. So we got,
mm,
and you'll have to correct me on this, but I believe this is a milky quartz.
that's
This
correct. I
is
sent some to Jazz. I'll give some to
really,
Jazz the other day.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jazz, I'm not really that much into crystals, but since Daniel sent me this one, I've actually been sleeping with it. It's been in my pocket and everything. It's warm right now, but I had a really
Beautiful.
profound dream, which I haven't told you about yet, Daniel. But I had a really profound dream first night I slept with this.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Share,
um,
share away, please. Are you happy to share
yeah.
or
If I can
not?
remember what it was. No,
Love it, love
the
it.
dream was very profound. It showed me it showed me where I was holding on to things, where I was holding
Yeah.
on to fear, and a lot of that fear does come from not thinking I'm enough for my family, and it showed me that, and yeah, like you said, there's no such thing as coincidences. There's no way that's a coincidence, in my opinion. That is that it's trying to tell me something.
Amen, brother. Amen. Good evening, Jacob Morton. How you doing, Jacob? We spoke before, haven't we, on TikTok? We've not caught up for a while, but I am in Bristol on Monday, believe it or not. So maybe through divinity, we're supposed to meet up, Jacob. So drop me a message in my DMs. You are enough, brother.
Oh,
Camille said you're
thank
enough.
you.
We're all enough, guys. That's the biggest misconception of this world.
Yeah,
That we are so pre-programmed into believing that we need to be more, and we
yeah,
are perfectly imperfect as we are. Um, so yeah, just get with the vibe and just be blessed. Blessed is best, you know?
yeah. Yeah, our state is it's effortless, isn't it? And actually all the effort comes from our ego. It's like, really funny. Right, mate. Like I said, this isn't I'm not gonna do notes this time.
Good.
I'm sacking the notes. I'm just gonna go with the flow, go with the energy, see where this conversation leads us. But I really did want to ask you about shamanism.
Yeah.
What is a shaman, and also how did you become a shaman, and how does one become a shaman?
So
And
that is it.
I know
Go on.
this is a big question, and it's probably going to take you um, into your past, because if you're comfortable with that, we're sharing how far. Just go ahead if you want to go all the way back or whatever. So yeah, feel free to.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is we are all shamans. We are all stewards of the land. We really, really are. And I think, like, from the first 5, 6, 7 years of our life, we are so more accepting and open to source. But then through trauma and situations and life experience, we close down and close off. So through like regressive therapy and understanding my previous lives, when I say younger times, when I was younger, um, I was able to unpack that not just me, but all of us are connected, so deeply connected to source and spirit from such a young age. For me, like the biggest thing I unpacked was my mum used to say to me that I used to have high temperatures and fevers all the time. And I used to say that people were at the bottom of my bed hammering my feet. And
Mm.
they were leprechauns and they were like trying to send a message. Or I used to be running around the front room with like my eyes closed, saying a dragon's chasing me, which is like the sign of obviously spiritual awakening. And I just brushed it off as like I was just a kid and didn't really know what it was all about. Anyway, fast forward to sadly my mum passing away on Christmas Day. But before she passed away, I was sent. I was sent. I went to her house to her aid because she wasn't very well, and when I went in the house, she was talking about seeing spirits, and they were coming to get her. And being the deeply religious man I was at the time, I had a Bible with me. So I went, Mum, I'm just going to get the Bible. I'll be back in a second. Went out to buy, out to car, got the Bible. This is 2022. Come
Wow.
back in and started reading from the Bible. I've got the Bible beside me here. It's got loads of stickers on it. There's a journey Bible, a journal as well. And I started reading from the Bible. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. Not a clue. I just knew that it'd give me peace and
Yeah.
my mum peace. And more importantly, I'd had spiritual experiences as a kid, and it really scared me because we were in the fear state, because it's the lack of knowing of the unknown. Um, Mum settled down, put her to bed, went to town, stayed in a hotel, didn't think nothing of it. It's not only since after and looking back that I realised that was probably part of the journey. But for me, it happened physically acknowledging it about a year, like 14 months ago, when I got put into hospital. Um, I see it's really, really hard. My wife and kids have been through so much through being led by spirit and not understanding what I was doing in this physical world. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Um, and when I say now that I was having messages in my head and I say voices, the voices were very clear, but
Mm.
sadly, the NHS, the medical system, will tell you you're mad. And I suppose you could be seen as mad if you can't discern if the messages are good or bad. And that's what we talk about meditation, about quieting the mind and being in contact with your higher self. But for me, my stage two Crohn's and having to change my life completely. Hey, Katina, you're on my angel. Keep up the good work with your tarots. It's good. It's good for you, and it's good for everybody else. And so I went into hospital for a week about my stomach. Started changing my diet, looking at what I was eating. Started fasting, like in the scenes, cutting meat out, putting more ownership on fruit, veg, nuts, fish, and I saw a big change in my cognitive ability. And with that come a level of clarity, although it was confusion,
Yeah.
because I was connecting to something I didn't have a clue what was happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So when you had these kind of, how do I word it? What if people like myself, I don't really get these voices, like really, but I used to when I was a kid. And
yeah.
I used to have an imaginary friend when I was a kid, right? Like I remember his name. His name was Oliver. He was grey, he was pale. We used to live in this really old Victorian house. And, my dad and my mum didn't believe any of that stuff. And one day my dad got really freaked out. He was like, because I had a sleepover and one of my friends stayed around my house. And he said to my mum, how many kids are staying over? And my mum was like, oh, just the one. And he was like, I've just seen three kids. Like, who's
Wow.
that third child?
Wow.
And I used to talk to my mum about it. Can Oliver come to town with us? Can we get some sweets? Can we go to the sweet shop? And it was kind of like, I could see the fear in my mum's eyes. She was like, shut up. Like, just don't talk about that, Liam. Like, it's not real. And I feel like that got pushed out of me, that kind of spiritual, like, uh,
Acceptance.
Yeah, so can we get that back for, people who don't have these voices, for
Yeah,
example, do you think?
yeah, exactly. I think when you're younger, you're more acceptant and open visually to the spiritual realm. And I think the older you get, you lose that. I think you do. Um,
Mm.
Imaginary friend, is that something that you were taught because there was fear from your parents? Because they probably did understand but didn't. Do you know what I mean? Like my mum and dad didn't understand, but they knew it wasn't right. But I'd say that that was spirits.
Yeah.
Imaginary friends are not imaginary friends. You as a kid just don't know how to express yourself. So you say that you're imaginary friend, your parents say they are, so they are. But I think when you get older, it's about understanding that when you quieten the mind, you're connecting. What does it say? You can meditate on your breath. Yes.
Meditate on your breath. Yeah, there's some great and actually Moonwater Mama, we're gonna do a podcast with Camille. You also mentioned it as well, changing your diet.
Yes.
And she was saying that everybody's ancestral lineage DNA, everyone's got a specific diet that's better for them. So maybe um that's something we could talk about as well. And like you said, you were saying you don't eat meat at all now?
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
eat meat, but I'm more mindful of it. I believe that every animal on this planet has a soul. I believe, like Adam and Eve, when we were given the Garden of Eden, planet Earth, we were given the trees, the grass, the leaves, the birds, the bees to eat. And I'd say you can eat meat, but I would say that you don't need to. I like fish. I like nuts. I love a lamb chop. You know, who doesn't? But it's about being more mindful and more present. So have red meat, it sits in your colon for like 6 days. You know, that's a long time. And your body is spending wasted energy digesting that. So you put leaves, fruit, veg in your body, it digests really quickly. It's good for you. But everyone's very individual.
mm.
But for me, I don't have to have a lot of meat in my life. Water's a big one. Filtered water, I think, is a massive one in today's world. There's so much in our natural water then it's really, really bad for you. And it's not until you take the time to love yourself and do a dipstick test you get off Amazon for £3 and realize it's either really acidic or, well, really acidic that your body, the only part of your body that needs to be acidic is your stomach. The rest of your body needs to be alkaline. And
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, it's hard. You've got to do that self love journey and research. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I see what you're saying because like everyone's different, and it sounds like your journey. You were kind of not like forced, but you were through your physical condition. You had no choice but to
Change.
expect, yeah, change. And did you do research, or did you just like experiment with what worked for you, what didn't?
Yeah, so I had a dietitian who at the hospital who
Right.
expressed like listening. Good evening, Dean. How you doing, my mate? You all right? But ultimately, it come down to self love.
Yeah.
It come down to going. I love McDonald's. I love KFC. I love like Popeyes in America. Um, but it's quick, convenient, easy food. It's not good for me. Self love is where it's at. Do I need all this meat? Do I need more water? Do I need more fruit? As a kid, I used to love pineapple. I'm back now eating pineapple every day. Pineapple is yellow and sits here, sorry, here, which is your solar plexus chakra, your second chakra. And it's a lot of where your trauma sits. And so you eat fruits like oranges, apples, lemons, pineapple, and that sources and powers up that chakra. And ultimately, what you want to do is you want to elevate yourself beyond that point to the heart chakra and then the throat and the crown. I said it last week. So bright coloured foods, turmeric, not like a banana milkshake that's heavily processed. Get some bananas, get some full fat milk, some cinnamon, some brown sugar, and take that time to love yourself and make it instead of going for a drive through and then just having it instantaneously with no gratification. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all self love.
So how did you then? So you went from, obviously, for people who don't know, you're a veteran. You served in the Royal Marines. you went from, you said you were religious, right? Because you were talking about
Yeah.
getting the Bible and stuff. How did you make that shift from like religion to sh shamanism?
Um, I believe it's my connection with the Marines and obviously being out with Mother Earth and realizing that she can be a cruel mistress through training, tours, and traveling the world. But it was also a case of understanding that Jesus was another esoteric prophet, like the Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, Mary Teresa, even who else? And understanding that we're all prophets in this world if we begin to slow it down. And actually, when you take the time to understand the message Jesus was delivering, it wasn't a message of follow me, I know it all. It was a like a coded message of if you understand the things I'm saying, if it resonates with your soul, if I'm hitting you in the heart, the words I'm speaking, then let's have another chat. But
Hmm.
if it doesn't, then sorry, I might do some cards tonight. Jesus was an ascended master, just like yes, that's right, Camille. An ascended master. That's another way of putting it. Prophet, ascended master. Um, you'd be able to speak to people and through their responses gauge if they were open to what he was trying to say. Whereas we said this earlier, Liam, that not everyone is open to what we've got to say. And so you have
No.
to hold your energy and be like, okay, I've tried, next person. And at that point, I started reading into Hebrew, the Apocrypha, the Book of Enoch, and
Mm.
realized the message being delivered. And why were they? Why were like the Bible was released 1,000 years after Jesus' alleged crucifixion, and by who? The Roman Catholic Church, which still exists today. So you go, why they left the Dead Sea Scrolls out, Thomas, the Book of Enoch? Why have they cannibalized the Bible? What's the reason behind that? And the reason I've come to a conclusion is for control. I'm not saying that Christianity is bad, but it's the Bible is used like all religious texts to control the masses. I feel that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's truth. If it resonates with your soul, amazing. If it doesn't, I don't wish to offend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about this just before we went live about kind of religion is about a belief in something. But there's a difference between believing, because if you believe something, it means that you don't necessarily know what it is you believe in, but you're just trusting in it. But there's a difference between believing and
And
knowing. And I
knowing,
feel like that's what Jesus was actually trying to teach people, that
yeah,
discernment between what's right and what, what is missed the mark. That makes sense.
100%, 100%. Again, so you just hit the nail on the head. So he knew by talking to people in a certain way that it resonated on their soul experience, and by their engagement back, he was like, "I get it." So heaven is not an external place; it's an internal vibration. It's like it's God, our Creator, loves everyone that goes to church for living their life the way they do, but spiritually, it's a lot deeper. The temple is here. The body is the
Hmm.
temple. Worship the temple. And so, as a shaman, I give thanks all the time. I do these little weird things that people don't understand. I go to trees. I collect coins. Flash my lights so many times. I listen to music in a certain way. I pause it. And everything I do is in honoring to my connection to the world and the spiritual vibration. And it's hard to describe what I do because on the outside, you think I'm mad. But that's because you don't have the clarity that I have. Does that make sense? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So how, like, was it just a gradual thing for you then? Because for me, what happened in 2020, the health narrative, that was the thing that made me inquire. What was your kind of, because you went from being in the military, man, you know what I
yeah.
mean? That's like layered indoctrination from just normal society anyway, and we had that extra layering. Like, how did you make that shift? Was it gradual into shamanism, or like, and the self inquiry as well? What happened there?
So I think. COVID was a big eye opener. Like, I wasn't going to allow anyone to jab me, my wife, or my kids over some pre-positioned, quickly rush through injection. Knowing what I know through history repeating itself, I thought, nah, I'd rather take the risk. Something inside of me said, you're perfectly imperfect. Do you know what I mean? This epidemic that's happening is really bad. And for all anyone's lost anybody, I get it. I do. But for me, like my soul was going, I've had more than enough jabs in the Marines, like jabbed up the hill. And I don't think they've been constructive. So why would I put something else in my body that, like, if you put a loaf of bread in the oven, it's still going to take 45 minutes to an hour to rise, right? So if you're telling me it rises in 15 minutes, that bread ain't ready, is it? We know that by looking at it visually.
Yeah.
So same with an injection. You've hurried it through, scientists, all that and the other, but it's not had the research and the research effectively into it. So I wouldn't risk that. And my wife, she was beautiful. She's like, I trust you. I'm going to take your word. So we didn't get jabbed.
Yeah.
And then I started going down the rabbit hole with QAnon. And it just opened my eyes to the fact that the world isn't exactly what we think it is. And you have to discern what is truth and what is not. But ultimately, it was a starting process, a domino effect into understanding that the world we perceive through our eyes isn't necessarily the world that goes on before us. Does that make sense? I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, I mean, I was quite fortunate because I was with Cecilia at the time, and I was leaving the army at the time when all
yeah,
that kicked off. So, but it was really weird though because we all got told to go back home, and we were like, eh? Like
I
the
do.
military can go back home. Like what? This must be serious shit. This.
Yeah.
And time went on with because there were lockdowns, and then there was like time in between, and then they would lock down again, and then they said the thing for us was they said you can't see a family member in hospital who's dying or a family member who's just give birth, but you have to go back to work, and that was just like a big like that doesn't make sense. Like my
Yeah.
soul knew at that point. I was like, there's something you know,
Not
something
right.
not right about that situation at all. You know.
Sorry, my camera gimbal just died on me. I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh, no worries.
Two
I'll
secs.
I'll continue
Yeah,
blabbing
keep
about
talking.
that.
Keep talking.
So that was kind of the big, I guess, shift for me, trigger, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of people have had their own triggers with, what's gone on in the past, events around the world and whatnot. So, and I think it was a big
Sorry,
trigger.
guys.
It was a big trigger for everyone,
Yeah.
and yeah, it led me down all these rabbit holes, and I definitely feel like that's where a lot of people can get stuck with waking up to holy shit, the world's not what I thought it
What
was.
you've
Everything's a
always thought it
lie.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
uh,
everything's a lie.
not
Not everything.
yeah, not everything, but in what we get taught in for the education system, for example, or college, and don't get me wrong, there's stuff that the education system does teach that's good and that's factually correct, but there's also a lot that isn't, and that's inverted. And yeah, it led me down a bunch of rabbit holes. I think I kind of fried my brain a little bit, and I just want to know what shift you had that led you into this inward shamanic journey. Like, was it intuition? Was it, like you said, hearing the spirit voices? Was
Yeah.
it someone that said something to you down the street, or what?
I think it's quite complex. This is not working very well, guys. So sorry.
No
So
worries.
I was gonna leave it. That's okay. What can you see? Anything bad? Nothing bad. So if we just leave it like that until my battery charges up, and then we'll get back to it. So for
Yeah.
me, it was a case of I went into hospital, come out of hospital. There was a lot of messages coming in, which I didn't know if they were genuine or not, because obviously I've been sectioned. And even when I was in hospital, I was doing weird things like giving thanks and gratitude, and I was putting plates in the window and like offering. I now know it to be giving offerings to like Father Sky or Mother Earth, and I
Yeah.
didn't understand what I was doing at the time, but
Mm.
it felt so right that I had to do it. And then I come out of hospital, and I start going to all these ley lines and these churches and these Neolithic sites, and I would get these like downloads. My wife has seen them and witnessed them, and they're like quite challenging to watch. Like the way she's put it was like Sam Witwicky off the Transformers, where he's like, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's quite worrying because your wife's like, is he going mad or what? And I wasn't, but I didn't know what was happening. And then I was going
Yeah.
to Glastonbury, I was going to Stonehenge, I was going to churches, like all different
Hey,
churches, trying to
Roger.
find out.
Dean's just joined. Sorry.
Evening, brother, you're right. My camera isn't working, sadly. And so over the course of 14 months, I was able to discern what they were trying to tell me. And it was a case of nothing is materialistic, everything is love. Like this world is unconditional love. But the problem is, we're so caught up in the materialistic realm of existence that we've lost touch with our spiritual self. And for me, getting back in contact with spirit, well, from the outside looking in, I just look mad.
Yeah.
And they even said to me, they said, the biggest battle you'll face is convincing everyone that you're not mad because you've been sectioned. And I was like, is that the ego talking? Or is that like this voice, these angels or aliens or source or whoever you want to, inner self, higher self? It's all the same. This gimbal is not working, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's just not going to work. So it was a case of losing my wife and kids through my erratic behavior and their understanding to a certain degree, but me not really understanding. So if I don't understand, how are they supposed to understand that daddy was this
Yeah.
former Royal Marine, uber angry PTSD guy, and now he's this incense burning, candle wielding, kind of crystal dealing dude? It's like polar opposites. It's so hard to even compute. Does that make sense? Um,
Yeah, I get it, mate. I actually get it.
it's not
For
working. I'm so sorry, guys.
oh, it's okay. It's all right. People will get a good look at your floor, mate. It's all right.
Love the floor. Yeah, the floor.
Nice
Love the
wooden floor.
floor.
I do get it because definitely a lot of people think that I'm mad and I've probably lost it, and it's probably family members. Fortunately, though, my wife is on the same journey, and at the start, it was very, very lonely. We
Yeah,
thought we were, but we knew we weren't mad, but there was that kind of ego, like, fucking hell, no one's talking about this. Like, what's all this rat race about? Why is everyone going 1,000 miles an hour? What's this about? You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't make sense. And I believe that everyone can go back to that point where they were a child and life was just fucking magical. Not everyone, because I know
amen.
there's a lot of childhood trauma there. So, but for the vast majority of people, you must be able to remember moments in your childhood that just felt it was just magic.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm getting that magic back being on this journey. I'm able to say I love you to another human being, to another man, and not have any like stigma about it, or oh, that's gay or whatever. And it feels beautiful and it feels magic. So this stuff is real. It's real. You're not crazy.
Not at all. It is literally that simple. It's losing the ego and the fear of being like, it's all right to be like, I love you as a brother, as a friend, as someone I just met, without going, you can't say that. You just met that person, and that's weird. Why is it weird? Because if they're a nice person, you've had a good conversation, like it's unconditional love. That's what we are as human beings, as spiritual
Yes.
souls. Is as a kid, like
Yeah. We
Jesus
yeah.
Christ. Go on, carry on.
I was going to say, great example. Like I see it in my two sons. Well, my oldest because he can talk, but you know, he'll go. We'll be at a park. He'll run up to a kid and go, "Hi, what's your name? I'm Room. Do you want to play with me?" If we did that as adults, people would go, "Oh, that's weird," but that's just layers of societal conditioning.
Amen, brother. Literally, like I'm on this course at the minute, this door supervisor's course, and I talk to everyone in the building. It's like a big building, Pluma House, and some people are like, "Hey, how you doing, beautiful?" Or "Hey, Angel, you okay? Love your shoes." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're really nice shoes." And they look at
Yeah,
you to think, "What's he after? Why is he saying that?
yeah, yeah,
Why?"
yeah,
All these layers of conditioning of why is that person being so nice? Because we as humans don't talk enough. We're happy in our own little world, overthinking everything and not being present. So, for example, we're having a conversation now, you and me, Liam. 90% of the time, this conversation will be happening, and the person having the conversation will be thinking about the next conversation or the next thing they're going to be doing. They're not present, they're not
yeah.
embracing the moment, which is magical. And I've been like that for 36 years, not being present. So I'm not talking from a position of years of experience,
Hmm.
I'm talking from 18 months of being present and understanding that when you become more present and give thanks and gratitude to air in your lungs, waking up in the morning, living on nothing, losing everything, trying to regain everything, when
Yeah,
you realize it's all a journey and it's not there to break you, it's there to allow you to grow. Um,
that's why I
we
didn't want to do notes for this podcast.
Amen, brother. I said this last week or week before, innit? No notes. Let it
I
flow.
know, but again, that's just what I got taught. You know, especially being in the army. You know, in
Yeah.
the Marines. Bring your notepad and pen.
If Jazz is still listening, she's on the course with
Yeah,
me. I'm taking notes all the time. There's a right place and right time. But like for tonight on the podcast, it's
yeah,
all about just letting it flow and
yeah,
just
man.
being open, you know?
Yeah, man. So let's get back to shamanism then.
Yeah.
You said anyone can become a shaman. So
Yes.
how can one start to become a shaman?
For
And really, what is a shaman to you?
so a shaman is acknowledging the fact that you are perfectly imperfect as you are. And it's understanding that you are made up of masculine and feminine energy. So therefore, you're half your mother, half your father, positive and negative, light and dark. And then it's about understanding that we've all got a life story, we've all got a journey, and it's about seeing it from an adult's perspective instead of living in a child's perspective. So when we look back at childhood trauma, we go, this happened, this happened, this happened. I blame that person, that person, that person. And the blame is not the aim. It's acknowledging that what you went through was always going to happen and it's growth and coming to the realization that all the parties involved, regardless of it's being massively traumatic or not, it was a journey. And acknowledging that it's hard to say because I've been through a lot, like a lot of people have, and it's hard to let these feelings go. But it's fine. Everything you've
Yeah,
been through is fine. And the sooner you rest in the grace of your divinity, that I say it all the time to everyone, we're all earth-born angels, but we get born asleep. Not sinners, I wouldn't say sinners. We're born asleep, we wake up, we're exposed to the spiritual world, we then get traumatized or exposed to life stories, and we lose that through lack of understanding. And then we
mm.
go to school, we get institutionalized and taught a certain way. Um,
Do, do do you think then, just dead quick whilst we're on this subject, and I feel like it's dead easy to get into that victim kind of consciousness mode,
yes,
but do you
yes.
think that that is somewhat intentional? Like, I don't know how much you've looked into it, like societal history and stuff. Like, I don't know really. I've dipped my toe in it a little bit, but it just fried my head. It doesn't really matter. But do you think that's intentional and like why? Like, what's the gain from that, man?
if we're talking on a bigger scale, like conspiracy theories and stuff, I would say that if this world is controlled with light and dark energy, I think that there are certain people in power that thrive off a lower energy. So if you can keep a people or a collective in a state of fear, that keeps their vibration low. But I would also
Yeah,
say that the way that Mother Earth works, she's been trying to raise vibrations for eons. It's part of evolution. Um, and we are the Jesus Christ and the Mary Magdalenes of this world that talk the spiritual path. Not everyone's open to it, and that's fine.
yeah,
But we need to find our tribe, and we need to stick together as a collective, as light workers, and be like, we're going to transcend our negative energy into positive energy and do our bit. So I say we're all shamans. We are all stewards of this land. That's what a shaman is. I'm a steward, but we're all stewards of the land. Mother Earth, Father Sky, Brother Sun, Sister Moon, and our ancestors from the stars. We are stardust. Whether you believe in science or you believe in spiritualism, God created us in his own image, the creator. He created us out of the stars, stardust. We're perfect, bruh. But for a Christian or a Muslim, see Muslim, for example, Islam, they pray 6 times a day, follow east, where the sun rises. I think like Muslim culture is far more attuned than necessarily Christianity. Judaism is a lot more in tune with the esoteric teachings, but I think Christianity has looked too much and pushed it externally. And I'd say the only way you're going to begin to understand that you are perfect as you are is by picking up a book and not watching Netflix or eating a lot of takeaway. Set yourself a goal. Drink more water. Don't eat so much rubbish food and see if you feel better. And if you do, that's the first stage to self love. And if it works and you fall off, fine. Pick yourself back up, try again. Like, you're not judged by your successes, but how you deal with your shortcomings and failures. And I think people just give up a lot of the time. And there's so much out there spiritually, socially, collectively. Like, it can all be shared with family, friends. It's just finding a topic that relates and resonates with them. Does that make sense?
yeah. And this is what I love about, doing these lives and through Instagram and stuff is just to find these like-minded people. And
Yeah.
because, it's all good. Like, I'd love to be able to sit down and talk about this with my mom and my dad, but they're not going to fucking listen. Like,
No.
so is it really worth my energy at this point? And I think this is why we're all here together is to learn from one another, because the average person who you speak to will find it really, really hard just to sit down for 10 minutes and not do anything. I struggle sometimes. It's a daily battle for me to sit down and meditate. Sometimes I really don't want to do it. But I know after I do it, I feel better than what I would have done if I didn't. And
Amen.
yeah, I mean, and we've done a podcast about like willpower and stuff and advice on all that stuff. But I'm going to have a little scroll up because we've got a lot of chat coming up. Smudge just
So
said, when are we going to get on the
meditation. Go on.
podcast?
Go
Oh,
on.
sorry.
Go
Smudge
on.
just said, when are we going to get on the podcast? Yeah, send me a message, Smudge. We'll get you on. I've got one next week with someone, but we'll get you on. Yeah, whenever's a good time for you. Sorry, Daniel. Go on. What were you going to say about
Yeah.
meditation?
I would say meditation. So when you get up in the morning, you're not going to be in the half lotus position. Get up in the morning and say this: I am one with the Creator. Creator is one with all. And sit there, because your mind subconsciously is more malleable early in the mornings. You've just woken up from a sleep, and just be present. Just think about your day. Just keep your mind clear for a minute, 2 minutes, and just be like, I am perfectly imperfect. I am enough. I am love. I am light. I am life. I am energy. And just try that. And you haven't got to sit like Buddha said to me, my mate Chris, he gave me my mala beads, he said, don't try and meditate at midday or 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because the mind is too busy. Do it
Mm.
first thing in the morning and just chill. Allow yourself a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then forget about it. And then go about your day. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And that's what we do in this world, pressurize ourselves all the
What
time.
ab-
And we've got to
what about
stop it.
before bed?
So before bed, I'd say lay there and be thankful, give gratitude and thanks for every experience and interaction you've had and for being alive.
Yeah,
Just sit there and be like, I'm so thankful for this experience. I love my life. Even if I've had a really bad day, it means something. Do you know what I mean? It does mean
yeah.
something. You may not understand it, but there's a meaning behind it. It's just acknowledging it is what it is, as my wife would say.
I used to struggle just to look in the mirror and say like I love you, and now I look in the mirror and I can say it, and I'm like, you're a sexy beast,
Beautiful.
Liam. And
Beautiful.
then I say to my wife, can you say that to me as well, just for positive affirmation? Not that I need anything external,
Yeah,
but
lovely. It's
that's
good.
another thing. Like, if you can't say I love you to your own reflection, you've got there's some healing there. There's some healing there that you've got to do because it
Amen.
especially in men, it's hard, isn't it, man? It's hard
Yeah,
to love yourself.
we don't talk, do we? We just bottle it up and just get drunk. Rupert,
Yep, exactly, man. Let's see. If we want to keep on talking, man, I'm just scrolling up because I know there's a lot of chat that
my battery's
we've missed.
dying again.
Oh no, no.
Yeah, man.
Katrina Blair said she something about can I go on the live? Do you mean with us, Katrina, with me or with Daniel?
Yeah,
I'll,
Katrina's lovely. We've been
I'll
chatting,
have
me
you
and
on the live.
Katrina. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll do it. This
Two
is what I
texts,
want
mate.
to. Yeah, this is what I want to accomplish with the podcasts, podcasts. I just want to talk to everyone and anyone about anything and everything, and if it's something positive, and you feel like it'll help the collective and to help shine your light, I love it. And yeah, just send
It's
me a
about
message.
sharing our it's about sharing our authentic original truth so people begin to understand that we all live similar lives through different situations and choices we make, but we're all similar. And when we share and come together, we realize that we're all the same and we just chosen different life paths. For example,
Yeah,
Farnaby, good guy, met him Saturday night, went out for a couple of drinks, had 2 drinks at the bar. The pub is rough, but it's not. My mate owns it, great place. But people would judge it and go, don't go there. But it's a great place, and some of the best people you'd meet that are authentic and true. But for the
yeah.
outside looking in, it looks dodgy. Do you know what I mean?
It's a
Judgment again.
diamond in the rough, isn't it? Or what's that word? You know what I mean, don't you? You only find diamonds amongst the
Amen, brother. Diamond
yeah.
in the rough. Oh,
I'm
lost
just
you.
turning up. Sorry, I was just turning up my brightness there. The sun's shining. What are we saying? Related to Paddy Mayne. Who's related to Paddy Mayne? Is that Katrina?
Katrina is. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Wow.
Strong Irish roots. Love
Vet
Paddy.
veteran too. Oh, are they a veteran?
She is, yeah, she's a veteran as
Oh,
well.
nice.
It'd be good to get on the podcast for sure.
Yeah, man, we'll do it. Sorry guys, I'm just scrolling up because love it, Smudger. Yeah, perfectly him as the hymn of life, versing me and versing you. Yeah, guys, Smudger's a wordsmith. He's got a way with words, hasn't he, Daniel? Like,
Yeah, yeah. He's very deeply connected. Off you go, off you go.
um, yeah, guys, if you've got any questions, put it in the chat. Just because we've got about 10 minutes left, so if you've got any questions, feel free to ask.
Send them across. Let me get my cards quickly and see what the cards say. Two
Oh yeah,
secs.
man. Yeah, do a card reading. I'm going to show these rest of these crystals. So
Do
this is
it.
the milky quartz that Daniel sent me. Really resonate with this one.
Here we go.
I don't know what this
Here we go.
is. Is this got iron inclusions in or something?
So
Did you
that
say?
is that's calcite and fluorite. I dug that out of a river in Ham Woods. Loads of it. I've got a
Wow.
massive, massive rock of it. Yeah. Um, just Google the properties and you'll see. Here we go.
I need to learn about all that. So I'm sure Cecilia knows about the ley line and all that stuff that you were telling me. I need to look into
It's
because
just self-love again,
yeah,
bro. It's just looking into stuff and taking the time to get to know something you never knew nothing about. Does that make sense?
it does. Yeah, and there's definitely resistance there with like, oh, you need to go and do this, and that's just from childhood, just that like pressure of but it is self love, like
It
doing
is.
research and reading, whatever. It is self love. Um,
Give me a
and
number,
another thing,
Liam.
uh, 24.
24,
Yeah,
6, 1.
that looks like agate. This one, I think it might. Yeah, Daniel knows what they all are. But the beautiful crystals, man. 24.
24. Here we go. What's it saying? What's it saying? What is it saying? Someone new is coming. An important new relationship is on the horizon. Open your mind and heart so that happiness can enter your life. So is that a collective message or is that an individual message? I do not know.
Yeah.
Um, but it's number 28 of those card 24. So 24, what's it say? Bit off the cuff, to be fair. Don't normally do it off the cuff. Um, as souls progress and evolve through the human existence, it takes more and more interactions with other souls to keep that evolution moving higher and higher. Because of that, the introduction of new people into your life has never been more important than it is right now. Someone new is about to enter your orbit. This may be the start of a romantic relationship. Someone previously unknown to you may capture you by surprise or bring a fresh flush of love and joy into your life.
Love it, man. I love it.
Like
And
it?
when you're receptive to the magic, like you were saying at the beginning, oh, it might have been before we started the live. It's everywhere. Like these
It is.
synchronicities happen all the time, you know.
It's beautiful. It
It
is
is, man.
literally beautiful. It really is. But it's just being present enough to acknowledge the synchronicities. But because we're so fast paced, we don't acknowledge them and then they just pass us by. But when you're forced to slow down, you see the magic in everything. And that's in every human being, every bird, every tree, the sea, all of it. It's
Yeah.
just magic. It really, really is. You look quite radiant with the sun glowing on your face,
Are you
like
ready for
an
this?
angel. Blue steel. Mm.
Hey Eric, Yahweh Free. That's Eric. I want to have Eric on the podcast at some time, at some point and hear his journey.
Right.
He's into crystals. He collects crystals. He's got a lot of positive things to say about crystals. But yeah, I'd love to have a chat with you whenever you're ready, man.
Let's make
But yeah,
it happen.
yeah. Anyone else got any questions? We're gonna go in about 5 minutes, guys. So just fire away any questions. Any anything you
Closing
want to,
statements. Closing
yeah,
statements. Anything to
closing
bring to
statements.
pie.
And I love what you say as well. It always sticks in my mind. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast.
And that's why you get t-shirts and hoodies printed out with them on, right?
I do need to get that printed on
We
a
need to get
t-shirt. That'd make a good
on that,
t-shirt.
don't we?
Yeah, yeah. We'll have a chat about that this week because I want to get the ball rolling with that, and I want a name as well. Find a name, brand name.
Hmm.
When did you notice you're in tune,
Who's it with that?
Katrina? Katrina, when did you notice you like in tune with? I guess in tune with spirit.
I think it was when obviously I got sectioned, if I'm honest. If you want my complete honesty, it was when I got sectioned, but I didn't acknowledge it until looking back and understanding. Um, it's probably a conversation more personally than it is over here because it sounds absolutely bonkers and people will be like, ah, yeah, you're mad. But it's not madness at all. It's beautiful. But not everyone will be open to it, if that makes sense. It'd be like, no, you're definitely mad, or no, I get it. And we have to be careful what we say because obviously my kids could watch this, my wife can watch it, and I don't want to put them in jeopardy as such. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got to be mindful of other people's emotions and what we speak and how it makes them feel.
Yeah. And I'm hoping this is going to resonate with someone, man, just because, you're not afraid to touch on personal things, and that I think that shows a lot of authenticity, a lot of love. And
Thank you.
yeah, like, you don't need to hear it from me. I'm sure you don't, but you keep on doing what you're doing, man. I'm glad I met you. I'm glad
Bless
you
you.
came into my life. And yeah, I think if we're all shamans, it's also great to not have like not so much like someone as an external, like, I'm gonna look up to you, but like, we all need advice, I think.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think you've got a lot of a lot of a lot of giving to give,
Thank you. I
if that
think we
makes
all
sense.
need an external guide, but really internally is where we need to look.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
it starts by looking in, understanding yourself, and then looking for your tribe that understand you for how you are, and then staying connected, I suppose, and growing.
yeah. And it's hard as well. Like, I've only got 100 followers, but talk about synchronicities and souls coming into your lives. There's a lot of people who I talk to now, which I'm so grateful for. you know. And I guess the way to manage it is just go off energy.
Amen.
Yeah,
100%. Gauge in conversation and how receptive they are. And if they're not buying into it, just switch to normal conversation and see where it goes.
yeah.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Smooth is fast. Love it. Um, right. Yeah. Have you got anything else to say, Daniel? Or we should just wrap it up, mate, if you want.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I've always got too much to say. Always.
All right. Well, thanks for everyone that tuned in and listened. It was a pleasure. Pleasure to share this. Thanks to you as well, Daniel, for just giving some time with me and just speaking about this and spreading your light, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you too, Liam.
All right. Right, we'll end it there.
Stay
Peace.
blessed, brother. God bless. Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys.